Winter's Tale is a story that offers so much depth and contrast. And when you're making a ballet, you're looking for, or I'm looking for, situations that can communicate easily through movement. So high emotions, operatic-sized emotions work very well for dance.
The great thing about doing this in dance is that all the things in the play which you're just told about, things happen off stage, like big events happen off stage. You can't do that in dance because we can't say that just happened. You have to show it, and I think that's a great way of telling this story, is that you see everything, you're not told about it. I actually think it's a really clear way of telling it.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah. It is a very, very complex story, but at the heart of it is profound, inexplicable jealousy that strikes King Leontes and causes him to do, some fairly devastating acts.
When Chris first suggested to me that we might want to do Winter's Tale, I think my first thought was, how do you tell the story through music and dance of a jealousy? Jealousy being the least kinetic, the least active, the least constructive emotion that kind of is.
Get out! Out! Get out! Yeah.
Chris and I spent an amazing 3 days forensically taking it apart and ended up with a synopsis that was very detailed, right down to the timings and everything.
How do you know how long a moment of jealousy should be? And then the court dance following that and so on. So it becomes about first making sort of a mathematical structure that you then can see on a page, and you can't actually ever really know until you're in the studio whether you've been correct or not.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1.
The first act is the act that has the most amount of storytelling in. It's very complicated. We have to tell the story of the two childhood friends, Leontes and Polixenes, how they were separated when they were young, and finally had a lovely reunion, and Hermione, Leontes' wife, has become firm friends with Polixenes and all is right with the world. And that then, a key thing happens, that Leontes conceives this ridiculous idea that Polixenes and Hermione are having an affair, and that she is pregnant, in fact, by Polixenes, not by him.
The moment where Leontes first becomes jealous in the ballet is when Queen Hermione takes his hand and takes the hand of Polixenes, their friend, because the baby's kicking and she wants them both to feel it.
To start with, when he's kind of sane and normal and kind of happy with his wife and his family and his life and his friend, our movement language is very similar. And then there's a moment where he flips and suddenly everything becomes a bit distorted, a bit twisted, a bit angry, confused.
So we have a theme with this kind of fun bass line. But then the second time we hear it, it's all completely... It's really kind of screwed up and kind of, it's gone into itself. It's vanished down to the pits of the stomach somewhere. Poor Leontes is really going through it.
Just get out.
Can you face the back?
Get out. Get out. Get out. Just make it that clear. So you go first to them, get out, and you actually just sort of, hang back. And then get out. Get out. Yeah.
It's not really improvisation. I think it's sort of more an environment where you have to be brave, really, and just try something. He doesn't say, okay, give me 4/8 of jealousy, or whatever. It's, I'll just try something, and he'll go, oh, yeah, I like that, or oh, no, that really doesn't work. And, it's about sort of being brave, really, yeah.
Ed is an incredibly physical presence. He has this musculature that's very unique and an uncanny ability to make unusual shapes with his body. So it was just really about getting in the studio with him and starting to play and invent and oh yeah, perhaps that movement looks like it might start to suggest a slow flushing through of the body of all those dreadful, jealous chemicals that we all have the ability to release.
Do you want to finish behind me or in front of me?
In front, I think. So, that's it.
Chris's language is very classically based, but to show emotions and feelings, we've kind of broken a lot of those rules in a way or stretch them, and you know, I love doing that.
We were adamant that we wanted to show all this stuff on stage. We weren't going to do a series of vignettes kind of inspired by The Winter's Tale. We were trying to tell the story on the stage. You don't need to know the play before you come. It'll all be explained in the music and the dance.
Bringing a new Shakespeare to life through dance is an exciting prospect. I mean, we have our Midsummer Night's Dreams and we have our Romeo and Juliets, you know, both of them in the repertoire here.
Back, and then it's one arm back.
It's a huge undertaking to take on a new 3-act Shakespeare work in the repertoire of the Royal Ballet where they already exist, but it also feels like a natural extension from the great choreographers who made those works, and why not a great English story in a great English opera house?